Let's start with something a little strange, and then move on to the more unsettling aspects that might keep you up at night. At number 10, we have giraffes. Just like the prince in Cinderella who goes around touching the feet of every woman in the kingdom to find his match, a male giraffe will do the same, but he's not interested in the foot fitting. It's the urine that captures his attention. A male giraffe will approach around 150 females before finding one that is ready to mate. Once he is satisfied with the taste, he will exhibit the creepiest smile imaginable, also known as the flamin response. But here's the truly creepy part. While many animals check the urine of a female to determine her readiness to mate, usually the female simply urinates on the ground for the male to inspect. However, in the case of giraffes, the male goes straight to the source and drinks up. Some experts say it's easier this way because they're so far from the ground and it would put them in a vulnerable position. But that's what they want you to believe. Number 9, the hippos. If you're wondering how to find a partner, consider Tinder, bars, or the comment section. Have you ever thought about combining pain and farting? That's how male hippos send a signal to females around them. The fart is so powerful that a female hippo can be far away and still receive the message. With this technique, the hippo is confident he has attracted potential mates. But how can he be sure she's ready to mate? Well, it's exactly what you're thinking. She'll shower him with compliments, also known as submissive defecation. Truly magnificent and disgusting animals. Number 8. Male black widow spiders take a big risk when trying to mate with the female. She might mistake him for prey. If he manages to convince her he's not food and successfully mates with her, there's still a chance she might end up eating him afterwards. This shows how lucky humans are in comparison. We don't have to worry about convincing our partners we're not food on a first date. The male nursery web spider gives his mate a gift in the form of an insect wrapped in his web to avoid her potentially eating him during mating. This shows a more strategic approach to the situation than what we see in other spiders. Number 7. Lovebirds are the epitome of couple goals. They find a mate and then stay together forever, singing, feeding each other, and building their home together. But if they ever get separated from their partner, lovebirds often get depressed. But they usually get better and find a new mate after a while. Number 6. Prairie voles, which make up just 3% of the world's mammals, are known for their strong relationships. In a strange experiment, researchers tried to break up these pairs by giving the voles alcohol. It's hard to understand why someone would want to mess with such a happy relationship. Interestingly, the female voles who had been drinking wanted to be even closer to their partners, while the male voles who had been drinking wanted to be further away. It's a good reminder that human interventions can affect the dynamics of these devoted couples. Number 5. The anglerfish. On one hand, you have animals that mate and never see each other again. On the other hand, you have those that mate for life. Then there's the anglerfish. Male anglerfish are so small that for a while, scientists thought there were no male anglerfish because everyone they caught was a female. However, when they noticed some females had parasites, they decided to study those parasites and discovered they were actually males. When a male anglerfish encounters a female, he bites her. This might sound familiar to some, but he never lets go. Instead, they fuse together, with the female providing blood and nutrients to keep him alive, and he provides sperm. Over time, the male is completely absorbed by the female, who keeps his testes for later use. In movies, not finding a prom date on time can seem like the end of the world. For the anglerfish, it's a pretty dire situation. Most males can't feed themselves, so they need to find a female, or they'll starve to death. Number 4. Clownfish have an interesting life cycle. All clownfish are born male, and they spend their lives competing with one another to reach the top of a strict hierarchy. Once a male clownfish becomes the strongest, fastest, and best of the group, he transitions into the only female of the group. However, there is a silver lining. Only the second strongest male in the group can mate with her. Interestingly, some studies have shown that if you put just 2 male clownfish together, they will fight, and the winner will become female. Number 3. The porcupine is one of the most resilient creatures in this lineup. The female is receptive for just 8 hours a year, so the male has to seize the opportunity fast. Before he can court her, he has to fend off all rival males while she watches. The male, who wins, typically has scars, bites, and quill injuries, while the loser may suffer severe consequences, with some even dying in their pursuit of the female. After that, the male uses a fast, strong stream of urine to coat the female, which is supposed to make her ovulate. Once the ritual is over, it's time for mating. You might be wondering about the mechanics. It involves a delicate three-step process. First, he approaches the female on his hind legs. Second, the female lifts her tail, giving him a brief moment to proceed. And third, the male hopes nothing, startles the female as he advances. Number 2, the praying mantis. In the animal kingdom, the praying mantis has the most dangerous version of a date. 1 in 4 males doesn't survive the encounter. If the female gets hungry during the act, she might take a bite of the male's head, slowly eating it all. Despite this gruesome situation, the male mantis continues with his task. After they're done, she usually eats the rest of him, gaining valuable nutrients for their offspring. It's a tough situation for both of them. Before we get to the number 1 and perhaps the most psychopathic partner in the animal kingdom, let's give some other animals some love. The male pufferfish, for example, works hard from 9 to 5 every day to create the perfect nesting space on the ocean floor. He uses his tiny fins to arrange shells in a way that's impressive for a fish that's only 4 inches long. This is like a human preparing a 2-mile diameter area for a date, but the female might still turn him down. Another fascinating example is the bowerbird. It builds a complex bower and decorates the surrounding area with a variety of objects, including flowers, berries, pencils, and bottle caps. The male bird waits in his court for a female to arrive. Interestingly, the smallest objects are placed furthest from the bower, which creates an optical illusion. When a female bird inspects the area, she stands in the bower and perceives the male as larger than he actually is. This is a pretty clever tactic, and it's good that humans don't engage in similar practices. Now let's talk about the number 1, the water striders. The male water strider might just be the most toxic partner you've ever heard of. Females have evolved a sort of chastity belt, a protective genital shield, so they can decide when and with whom they want to mate. The male, however, has had to adapt as well. Instead of developing shield-knocking genitals or a bitter personality, he's chosen to play a game of Russian roulette with his mate. Here's how it works. The male mounts the floating female. If her shield is activated, he starts tapping his legs on the water surface to create ripples. These ripples attract predatory fish, and since the female is at the bottom, she's at risk of being eaten first. To avoid being eaten, she opens her shield and accepts the male. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.